Welcome to Tax-Free Savings versus RRSPs. I'm sure you all want to know what the difference is and when you should use one over the other. So tonight, Dan and I are presenting all the information that you need to know to at least get started thinking about what's going to work for you. So our agenda is going to be what a tax-free savings account is, what a registered retirement savings plan isn't, the eligible investments, and then of course there's questions and answers. So we'll try to actually answer most of the frequently asked questions that we get throughout, the year when it comes to tax-free savings and the registered retirement savings plan. So what the tax-free savings account is, it's a gift from our government. And it's one that allows you to have tax-free sheltering for life. This really is the best plan that the government's ever come out with. Dan and I absolutely love it and think everybody that is 18 or older should have one. It's a place to accumulate money for emergencies, education, supplement your retirement income, save for a home, whatever it is that you want to do. And also, over time, you will save a lot of money in probate because it will be probate free, which means it will reduce the final estate costs. It was started in 2009. And one of the things that they put in is that you have to be at least 18 years or older. You must also be a resident of Canada. And as of 2023, the contribution room is now $6,500 a year. But if you haven't opened one up and you were 18 several years ago, your contribution accumulates from year to year, which means if you were 18 years old, if you were born in 1991 or you were born in 1991 or later, you were able to contribute $88,000 up to this point. So if you've never made a contribution to your tax-free and you've got the cash, you can now put in $88,000. That's nothing to sneeze about. This is a great plan. The contribution room will accumulate whether you're working or not, which also means you don't have to work to get room. So as long as you've got any kind of money, savings from something else, maybe you babysat, had paper routes, whatever, when you were younger, and now you're 18 or older, you could actually put in that money in the tax-free savings, but you have to look back because each year the contribution was different. They're not taxable, which means any money that you put in, you would have already declared on your tax return if it was taxable money. If it was just, savings or gifts or an inheritance, you may have that money already in the bank and you can use that money to put into the tax-free savings. Tax-free withdrawals can be done at any point throughout your life. And if you wanted to put the money back, you only have to wait until the next calendar year. So if you took out money in December of one year, you can literally the next month put it back in because it's a new year if you did it in January. So, but if you take money out in January of this year or February or March or April, whatever the month is, you have to wait until next January, a new contribution year, to repay the money back to your own account. But if you've got contribution room because you've never maximized your plan, you could put it in as a new contribution right away. Now, the other thing that you can do is if you have a plan and you have a spouse, whether it's common law or married, and you have a marital breakdown, you can actually, if it's done properly, you can actually end up with an increased contribution room by getting your spouse to transfer their plan to your plan. Now, if you're the spouse that has to pay the money, you would want to cash it out and give it, because your plan will reestablish its contribution room the following calendar year. If you do it as a transfer to your spouse, you lose the room and they gain the room. So make sure you get proper advice if it's a marital breakdown and you have to use the tax-free savings on the equalization of the marital assets. Now, a tax-free savings can be used for anything, but it's great for long-term savings and or even an emergency fund. What an RRSP isn't. People used to think that the government was giving us a gift because we could defer the taxes if we put money into our registered retirement savings plan. This was a way for the government to encourage you to save money. But the fact was, they really weren't explaining that down the road in retirement, you have to start paying back all that money in taxes. And in some cases, it might cost you more. Because it's not tax-free, it's only a tax deferral. So you get to defer it while it's in the plan. It cannot be used for emergencies, education, or supplementing income without a tax consequence. Every dollar coming out is going to be charged as income, and you must pay the taxes on that income. It could also negatively impact the estate when you don't have a spouse, because it means that all of the money that's in the savings of a tax-free saving of the registered retirement savings now becomes taxable as income to the estate, as if you cashed it all out the day before you died. And this is so the government can get their hands on the taxes. In a lot of cases, this will mean at least half of it is going back to the government in taxes, and your estate has to pay it. So the tax-free versus the RSP. Well, a tax-free you have to be 18 years to open the plan. Now, if you want to open up an RRSP, there's no minimum age, which means if you've got income, say, for example, I won't even say you have a small part-time job. Say, for example, you were a child model or something of that nature, maybe a child actor, and you're getting well paid that you have to pay taxes, because taxes have to be paid at any age. It doesn't have an age restriction. So that means that your parents might want to open up a registered retirement savings plan for you to defer some of the taxes. So there's no minimum age. Now, in a tax-free savings, you can contribute right up until the year of death. While in an RSP, the last year you can contribute to your plan, as long as you had taxable income, would be age of 71. Because after that, it must be converted to an income fund, and that means you're going to be taking money out. Again, it's so the government can control when they get their taxes at least starting to be paid back. If you have a tax-free savings account, you don't have to have any eligible income requirements. But in an RSP, you must have eligible income to accumulate any room. So your first year of working, you wouldn't necessarily have any room to put money into an RSP, because it only qualifies your income for this year for your contributions the following year. In the tax-free savings, your contributions are not tax deductible, but in an RSP, they are tax deductible. And again, it's called a deferral of your taxes. In the tax-free savings, you have currently a maximum contribution of $6,500, and that's from 2023 on. So if you were only 18 this year, you can contribute $6,500 for this year only. The contribution are tax deductible, as I said, for the RSP, but your maximum annual contribution would be the lesser of 18% of earned income of the prior year to a maximum of $30,780. That's what it is right now. Now, again, annual contribution rooms will carry forward each year on your RRSP if you have not made contributions, but you would only want to use those total contributions if you've got a sizable taxable income. The tax-free, the accumulation room will carry forward indefinitely. The tax-free, you can take out withdrawals anytime you want, and it doesn't cause you any tax consequence. But on the RRSP, your withdrawals are taxable. Every dollar coming out becomes taxable income. The tax-free savings grows tax-free indefinitely, where the RSP only grows tax-deferred until age 71. Tax-free savings, you don't have any time limit to collapse it, where the RRSP must be converted to an income fund no later than the end of the year that you turn 71. Now, what you can invest in. Pretty well, both plans are exactly the same. You can invest in a wide range of investment vehicles, such as stocks, bonds, mutual funds, exchange-traded funds, savings accounts, GIC, the same for both plans. Both plans also do not allow any losses to be written off. If you do an investment and it goes down and you sell it, you don't get to write off the losses. But both plans also don't have any expectations of you having to claim capital gains. But with the RSP, the more money you make in your RRSP, the more money you have eventually that becomes taxable. On a tax-free savings, any gains or income, so interest, dividends, capital gains, none of that is taxable. If you're taking the money out, again, it doesn't matter. There's no taxes to pay. But as I mentioned several times, if you take money out of a registered retirement savings plan, every dollar is taxable on withdrawal. On the tax-free savings, if you take a redemption, it doesn't affect any other government plans such as the old age, the GIS, your EI. Well, any redemption you take on an RRSP could impact your old age, meaning you might get a clawback, you might get your GIS supplement taken away, you might have to pay back some EI benefits. So you have to be very careful when you take money out of your registered retirement savings plan. The tax-free savings can transfer the proceeds upon death to the spouse's tax-free savings, even if that spouse has maximized their own plan. And the way you do that, instead of having a beneficiary, you have what's called a successor holder. Meaning if your partner, husband, wife, whatever, your common law, passes away, their plan can be rolled to your plan as long as they named you as the successor holder. You cannot do this with your children, just with a partner. With the registered retirement savings plan, the proceeds can be rolled over again into a tax-deferred spouse's registered plan. So it still gets rolled over. You do save probate. At that point, there's no issue. But at some point, the spouse that's getting the money will eventually be 71 and has to start to draw on it. The tax-free will always bypass probate, unlike the RRSP, because it only bypasses probate if there's a named beneficiary. I guess, you know, when you look at it, the tax-free savings also needs to have a beneficiary. You always want to have a successor holder or a beneficiary on all plans that allow it. And this is to save probate. So which plan is best for you? If you have the money, the best plan would be to maximize both. If you have a taxable problem and you've got extra cash, you're going to benefit from both the deferral and the tax savings. But what you really should do is sit down with a financial advisor and discuss which option makes sense for you, because not everybody has the money to do both plans. So this is our team. And if you want to contact any one of us, you can go to our website at Lebec Wealth Planning. You can book a free consultation in the calendar, or you can find our phone number, give us a call, book an appointment, because these are important decisions that will help you to make a better secured financial, I'll say, life for you and your family. And how you set things up will also impact your estate, and you want to do that properly as well. We thank you for tuning in. If you have questions, you can actually go on our website, because this will be recorded and put out on YouTube and possibly Facebook. But regardless, you will find this information. And because we won't be live at the time that you watch it, you will have an opportunity to ask all the questions you like by calling us or going online and booking an appointment at Lebec Wealth Planning. We again thank you. This information is given by myself and my partner Dan, who we've created this for you as information to help you make the right decision. So you always want to talk to a professional before you make the final decision. You want to make sure that what you're doing is right for you. So we thank you for your time. We hope you got some insight into tax-free savings versus RSP, and we look forward to helping you in the future, should that be your wish. So thank you, and have a good rest of the day, whichever time you're watching this. I'm Linda Lebec with Lebec Wealth Planning.